quite a valid contribution to this whole YouTube community. Some may say, as a black YouTuber, regardless, it got me on his channel and looking at some of his videos. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. And I think on this particular show, he introduces himself. So let's get into it.
This is Mark Anthony and my incredible guest, Sarah Garvey. And this is Let's Talk Life with Mark Anthony and Sarah Garvey. I'm over the moon to have him here. Sarah Garvey absolutely fascinated me with some of the things he was talking about and the things that he was doing. And I never saw anyone else other than Carla that actually piqued my interest. You know, but he was saying things that
I'd just say he's that dude.
I agreed with. But it seemed so far to the right in some ways, you know, freedom of speech. A lot of people were going against that. Sarah Garvey was someone who was pushing freedom of speech and understood it. And in doing so, he got to interview Tommy Robson, which, if anybody, he was like, was one of the, like, kind of the enemies of the state at that point in time. Mm. How did you make that happen anyway?
Well, okay. So I interviewed him twice now. I've sat down with Tommy twice now. What it is that I used to attend Speaker's Corner in London. For everyone that knows or doesn't know, it's a place of freedom of speech. Every Sunday you can go down there, talk about whatever you want. And I had a very colourful time, let's say.
As a matter of fact, Speaker's Corner has something to do with the actual name of this channel. And at the time, I think it was a jazz group, and I wanted to call it Speaker's Corner after the legendary spot in Hyde Park where people rack up and have their say. Basically, people pass by, respond, or have push back on whatever's been spoken about. It's a lot of sometimes people on religious themes and political themes as well. So I wanted to call one of the bands Speaker's Corner, and I found there was a hip-hop band in Canada or something with that name. So I ended up having to add the US. So the band was Speaker's Corner. And somehow, when it came round to me naming this channel, I ended up with the name CornerSpeak. So don't want to bore you too much on that minor fact, but that's connected to how I got to name the channel. Back to the video.
Down there, I was there for like 6-7 years, and I spoke a lot about religion, and specifically, not even specifically, but Abraham religion specifically. A lot of the time, it was speaking to Muslims, and there was an incident down there, and then what happened is that people started on. This is when Twitter was called Twitter. It wasn't called X, right? So people started tagging him, Tom Robinson, and tagging me, saying you should speak to him, you should speak to him, you should speak to him. And I think I woke up to like crazy notifications on my Twitter, and then about an hour later, Tommy Robinson contacted me in my inbox. Hey, how you doing? Would you be cool for an interview? Blah blah blah, and yeah, it kind of went from there, really.
So this is Sarah Garvey and Mark Anthony.
You said people said that you speak to him. Is that because your views were different to his views?
Our views were similar, and we kind of had similar, let's say, experiences with a particular group of people. And so, but he was white, I was black. So it was like, oh, well, you're black and you're having like a similar type of incident happen with you, blah blah blah. And so yeah, that's how that happened. And so I think that interview, which is probably like 6 years.
I had no idea he actually interviewed Tommy Robinson, probably because it was so many years back before all of these summer riots and what's not. But that's shows how open he is to speaking to anybody across any kind of lines. And I like that type of journalist or YouTuber. Open-mindedness.
Now. It's on like over 500,000 views, that one that you're talking about that you saw.
Yeah, it's more than that. But how did that, obviously for me, some people speak up and say whatever, and I've noticed that it tends to create, the cancel culture happens, a lot of labeling happens. How did that kind of frame you in the minds of the community, the general community?
A lot of black people didn't like it because to black people, Tommy Robinson equals racist. That's what the equation was, right? And for me, I like to. This is me as an individual. I like to talk.
To an extent, still do at times, depending on the context.
To anyone, I will talk to anyone, even if I disagree with you.
You're like myself, and I love that about you.
I would just talk to you. I might talk to you and still think you're a piece of...
See, look, where I agree with these guys is from the point of view or premise that if you don't talk to somebody who has a different viewpoint to yourself, how do you ever get where they're coming from and sometimes find that middle ground where, you are, enlightened about something that you may not have considered in a particular way. So I'm kind of, I chime in with that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Afterwards, but I want to be able to talk to you because what I don't like happening is people telling me what someone is and I'm going off what someone else says. I don't like that because I think to myself, I'm an individual. If people were just talking about me and all you got, which is happening right now, all you got was someone else's view about me, are you getting the real person? Me personally, I wanted to speak to him, so I sat down and spoke to him. A lot of black people didn't like it. It's funny, I lost a lot of quote unquote associates because I don't really have friends, but I lost a lot of associates which were like, oh, you can't sit down with him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. That's just how I am. Don't tell.
Again, I know what he's talking about when he says associates and not necessarily friends. That rings home too.
Me I can't do something. You're crazy. Why are you trying to stop me from doing something? I can do what the hell I want. No one controls me.
It's your life.
It's my life. So like I said, I sit down with anyone and it was interesting. It was an interesting interview. I said I sat down with him twice now. Do I think that he's a racist? On the second interview that I sat down with him, it was a racism debate, which is, we just called it, we had a studio audience and everything. I said to him, I think racism is a scale.
Okay.
Right? I don't think that term is just blanket. So there are people, I've always said, there are people who are ignorant. They live in the countryside of Europe and they don't interact with many black people. The only interaction they get with black people is on their TV screen or on their YouTube screen or whatever social media screen they've got. So they may have a preconceived notion of them. And there are people that may say stuff that's ignorant.
I think we forget sometimes that in the UK, outside of the cosmopolitan, built-up urban areas and cities, most of the country is not multicultural. Most of England, Scotland and Wales, and probably Ireland included, people often forget that, particularly if you're not from over here. So he's made a good point there.
Then you have people who are like, you people need to go back to your country, put you back in chains, blah, blah, blah. I don't see those two different peoples as the same thing. That's why I think racism is a scale. And I said to Tom Robinson, I think you're on the scale, but I don't think you're at the further scale. Because I don't think you're on some, you guys need to go back to where you come from. Nah, I don't believe he's like that at all. But do I think there's a level of ignorance? Yes. But then also, I think the level of ignorance isn't towards black people. It's towards radical Islam. So the thing is...
You think he's ignorant towards radical...
He's making good points.
Islam?
No, not ignorant towards it. I said, I'm talking about his problem. His problem isn't with black people. Tommy Robinson, I've never seen Tommy Robinson's problem be with black people.
So when you talk about racism, because obviously people do put us all into the same bracket, right? They put Asians, Chinese, everybody. If you're racist against everybody. People just are prejudiced against different groups.
I don't think that's the case because for me, growing up in this country, I've experienced more racism from non-white people.
Okay.
Asians.
Interesting.
Arabs. Pakistanis. I've received more racism from them, like overtly is what I'm talking about. Someone that would actually say to you, you're an X, you're a monkey, you're a this, blah, blah, blah. I've received more racism from those type of people, not white people.
I'm going to tell you a story, funny enough, but first I'm going to try to kind of frame my view of the world, and it is I love everybody, and that sounds very strange. How can you love everybody? You know, I feel that
you're a kumbaya.
I think we're all
I'm
a Christian, right? Whatever. You know what? You know, when I don't know about that. I don't know. I am a Christian, but it's not. Is it built? Come from there? Maybe it has. I have no idea. But in terms of, I just feel that we're all, you know, capable of good things, and we're all capable of bad things. But I can see at the same time that there are certain groups that take advantage of that power that they have of trying to divide people. But I don't blame the whole groups. I know it's just a group, because bad things happened in my life. And if I decided to hate everyone who was part of that demographic, I'd be in trouble. And it means that I would end up being a big hater and probably a racist. But when I was younger, so just get this in your head. So you talk about, you know, some of the things he's experienced. Me and my brother were walking past. I was only about 13 years old, and my brother was 9 years old. We were walking. We lived in Southall. My mum's boyfriend lived in Southall. We were walking past his house, and we were walking with our dog. And as we just walked down the road, this house, the door flung open, right? And these South Asians came running out the house, loads of them. And we were like, oh, and we saw a woman in a dress, so we thought, oh, it must be like a wedding. I just thought people came flooding the house, and we were like, wow, we were really joyous for them. Like, really, wow, that's really amazing. They took one look at us, and all of a sudden, they freaked out. And I was like, what's going on? They started freaking out. They saw the guy, they changed their attitude. They're only 13-year-old kid. I have to remind everybody. It wasn't long before these guys started calling me the C word, coon, the M word, everything you could imagine. They were calling us these names, and we were stunned by this. How could they be talked this way by
other people of colour?
Wow.
By Pakistanis. They were speaking in Urdu.
Right.
And I understood some of the language, because all my brother's friends were from Pakistani backgrounds.
Right.
So I basically started saying to them, I repeat some of the words back to them. I've translated it, so I'll repeat it back to them. And I said, well, you just call me this name. What are you talking about? You call me this name. And I was very shocked. And they were like, they got so upset, they went even more irate. Eventually they came out, this whole family came out on the street towards me and my little brother. And decided that they were going to now start trying to attack us. And now I had this dog with me, and I was trying to keep him back. My dog was getting obviously irate and trying to protect us, so we were kids. And these people were saying to us, bring your dog home and, you know, come back. I'm thinking, why would I bring my dog home and come back? You know, great stuff. So by the end of it, they followed us all the way home. I went to my mum's boyfriend, I told him what was going on, but this dog was, I literally let the dog go, and it grabbed the woman by a sari and pulled a sari.
Right, okay.
And they went mental, right? So got home and spoke to my mum's boyfriend, told my mum's boyfriend.
And he's talking about brown people.
Different situation. He came out and spoke to them and calmed the whole thing down. A week later, the dog was taken. They came and took the dog. So that's very, very strange coming from the community, and I then had to be very suspicious of some of the things coming out. So what you're saying kind of rings bells to me. I don't think that's we're the only people who have had these kind of experiences.
I think one of the things for me, I think a lot of black people need to be realistic. And if black people are realistic, I would say to them, would you prefer to live in the West as a black person, or would you prefer to live in the countries of these respective people that you claim are your friends?
Trust me. Personally, no brainer. I'm sticking in the West.
That's what I always ask them. Because in those respective countries that they claim that they're friends, you as a black person is less than you are here. Now, I'm not saying that the West has no racism, because we all know the West does, and there are racist people that exist everywhere. But in those respective countries, a black person is seen as less than a lot of the time.
And that's the thing. I was concerned when I did my research on it much later in life. It turned out that we were an omen, a bad omen. A black person.
Damn, getting into all kinds of things there. I found that very interesting. And that's Sarah Garvey and Mark Anthony having a discussion there. Both black YouTubers, I do believe. It's obvious. I wanna show a few shorts of somebody who most of us will probably agree, if you know of him, he is a legend on YouTube. He's probably one of the first generations. He's probably one of those YouTubers who,
when I looked at my white friends,
pretty much, as
when
far
they would
as
listen to
black
rap,
YouTube is concerned,
they would listen to it for its music, but then they would go off
differentiation.
not do it.
Anyway,
Blacks felt like they had to
start from the
live
beginning.
what the words
and
were
see
in
what
these
he has to
songs.
say.
When I
Tommy
looked at
Sotomayor.
my white friends, when they would listen to rap, they would listen to it for its music, but then they would go off and not do it. Blacks felt like they had to live what the words were in these songs. So the worse these songs became, the worse the culture became. Blacks didn't used to be counterculture like that. We didn't used to want to not speak English correctly. We didn't used to want to not want to get a job or want to not do these things. But when music started to tell you this is what a real N-word is, and then being a real N-word was something that you had to aspire to be as a black person, that being defiant, being a headache, being disruptive, the music pushed it and the people went along with it. And you gotta ask, blacks did not own music studio, one record company. And the people who's
I'm
had
gonna
these
move
record
that one
companies,
on, for the simple reason
Were they white people?
I hope I don't get into difficulties with YouTube with the music playing in the
You know that
background.
big bitch.
We'll check this one out instead.
Every nigga says it's a big bitch.
Tommy Sotomayor again, the king of controversy.
Hold on.
What's that?
No man. Hold on.
What's that?
If she was a man, and tell me if I'm lying, would you not see Lizzo with a baby mama that was fine or a girlfriend that was fine right now?
Yes.
And yet, Lizzo cannot find any man to just walk down with her, and she got money and status.
Maybe
Why
she's
not?
Because she's looking in the wrong.
Maybe she says
She
no.
keeps talking about how she can't keep a man. She threw herself at Carl Anthony Towns.
Where'd she say it? Where'd she say it?
Hold on. I'm
Where'd she
curious.
say it?
You like Lizzo, right? She's cute. She's good looking.
I don't like Lizzo. I didn't know she's a celebrity. Like she's
No. But you said she's good looking, right?
she's not ugly.
She's
yes.
not ugly.
She's the big girl.
So
That's
would you
it.
switch bodies with her?
Good question.
So would you switch?
Would I switch like lies as well? Like just body or
Just body.
Yeah, body, yada, yada.
And have my same life?
For the rest of your life.
No.
No.
Hey, no.
No.
Okay,
That's
y'all
There you
mean.
have it.
You know that big bitch.
Lizzo.
Lizzo. Every nigga says it's a
Not
big
ugly.
bitch.
Maya.
Hold on.
What's that?
No man. Hold on.
What's that?
If she was a man, and tell me if I'm lying, would you not see Lizzo with
Right.
a baby mama that
I'm
was
gonna-
fine or a girl?
How are
Wrap
you?
this up with
I'm
a little
well.
bit
How are you?
more.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
All
Mr.
right, perfect.
Tommy Sotomayor.
Okay, I was told I've
Here
going to
we go.
rub those people the wrong way, and he said he's a young man and he's trying to figure it out.
Okay, let me sort that out. Whatever that issue is.
I'm the known entity here. Ain't that how the buddy talk?
Just calm down, bro. Just
I'm the bigger
calm
name
down.
here.
Here we go.
So that's why I have that's why I'm talking like this.
The reason
I have the
that
right to
you're
do that.
mad is because
It's
you were
because you're
clearly
being
exposed.
King of controversy in action. He don't suffer fools.
For backbiting.
For what?
You were clearly
What you
exposed
expose
for
me for doing?
backbiting. Let's look at the footage. You tell me that what you did was right. Look at it.
Entire time, like,
Look at it.
yeah.
All right, so you've been sitting next to this guy.
I would
the whole
love to have
time.
a civil debate with him. No love. If he
Relax.
asks me a question, I
Just
will
relax.
answer each one.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Doing too much, bro.
He been sitting next to you. You ain't saying nothing. You looking down. I just want to narrate this, and then you can respond.
Respect.
He walks out
You left your diapers. You know they're expensive.
and then listen to you straight away.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to.
Like a man.
Wait till he's
Hey, I'll tell you something else. He's a damn good comedian as well. Funny dude.
Stocking
on,
diapers the entire
waiting,
time.
waiting till
when
he's
somebody never had anything in their damn life and they keep bringing up, I did this on TikTok.
Like you got
I
it.
just kept saying it like this nigga has a
Did he make $1 million
Yeah.
on TikTok?
Now, here's the thing.
Fresh never dissed him before the end.
Real quick,
Fresh never
real
said
quick.
a word.
I'm saying what you did was not manly, which is to say you do not
Talking
wait
about-
till a man leaves and talk behind his back. You don't do that.
Why not?
You
Okay.
could have sat there silent and carried on with the conversation.
Okay, but that became the conversation, one. But two, let me explain.
You
something.
started that conversation, Tommy.
Okay.
Tommy,
I
did you
heard
not
what
start that
said about
conversation?
me and respect. I heard what he said about me and was respectful, even though he was saying I'm not being a man. I tried to then speak back. He cuts off.
I'm asking you,
If I get bothered by that, then I'm being sassy. So you
relax
just
for a second. Relax for a second.
Won't let me respond.
Relax just one second. Tommy, did
Even
you
keep
not
saying
start
relax.
that
You just
conversation?
let me respond to what you said.
Tommy, did you not start that conversation?
So you're not going to let me respond to what you said. Now you're going to pose a question.
Relax real quick. Just relax. Did you not start that conversation?
Again, by what your metrics was, I started it.
I think this is probably a good example of bad faith debating.
Even though when I looked at it, and anybody else can say this woman's first thing that she said, but either way, everybody else around the table that had said nothing bad about him while he was there, then started doing it.
Okay.
Because they were shocked he did it. I was shocked, and let me tell you why I was shocked he did it. Because when I was in the back, he was like, man, I've seen your shit. He was respectful to me, and then he was respectful to.
There you have it, Mr. Tommy Sotomayor, holding his own as per usual in the debating controversy realm. And before that, we was looking at Sarah Garvey. I do believe it's Mark Anthony. I do believe you can check me on that. I will have some information in the description, and if you wanna find me on some of the CornerSpeak socials, all the info is there. I hope you enjoyed this evening's clips, a little bit of a brief look into the Black YouTubers, and probably be back on that subject again at some point in the future. For now, as per usual, be good, be safe, be creative. For myself, Onyu Adye here at CornerSpeak. Speak. I am out. I have to say, before we get to that, I need to do a word from our sponsors. Today, it's Elite Artists. If you're UK based and you need to find a pianist, if you need to find a live band, any particular instrument, they can satisfy your needs and service your event. Look them up, Elite Artists, and we'll just have a quick word from them. Momentarily.
Rock, solos, duos, trios, and bigger bands. Added to the roster by audition only. Search Elite Artists on the App Store or Google Play today.
Okay, just bear with me here on the sound front.
We know they deliver.
I'll start that one again.
Every artist on the Elite Artist roster is hand-picked. Auditioned live by our team. We've heard them. We've seen them. We know they deliver. No backing tracks. Just real live music. Where the music can never be questioned. Every artist.
There you have it. Elite Artists. Information in the description. Thanks again. See you around the way. And please leave your point of view in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. I'll be back.